Yes, the bros are back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Straub Sports Show. Fresh after a week off. Big bro here, rocking with you with little bro. Little bro, how we doing?
We are doing good. Running a little late, as unfortunately has become a regular occurrence, but doing good, feeling warm, just ready to start the show.
All right. Well, you didn't sound good to start. I thought that was not good. I didn't know if you needed to clear your throat like one of mine or what was going on there. There you go. Bobby Rose checking in with us. The bros are here. Mama's checking in. We love you. Pops is checking in. You already know what time it is. And it is time for the Straub Sports Show. You can find us anywhere and everywhere. You can find us all over social media, TikTok, the SBSS, X at Straub Sports, Instagram, Straub Sports Show, Spotify, the Straub Sports Show. And unfortunately, StreamYard yelled at us and said we're too young. We can't stream yet. But the debut of the Straub Sports Show Facebook page, and I have to be completely honest with you guys, it's been actually overwhelming. The page has only been live less than 24 hours, and I will do a double check because I have access like that. The page is currently
I get access like that.
262 followers in less than 24 hours. And I said this, I made a Facebook post, but I'll say it again. From the depths of my heart and my soul, I appreciate every single one of you. You're amazing for the immediate follows. As soon as StreamYard allows that page to go live, that will be the new home, along with the YouTube page, which you can find through the QR code right there, the Straub Sports Show YouTube page. Once that is allowed, the Facebook page and the YouTube page will be the exclusive home of the podcast. I will be able to retire my Facebook page and go back to yelling and screaming and complaining about things like I used to be able to. But in the meantime, we're still live here on Facebook, my Facebook. We appreciate you. And actually, all of our viewers currently checking in on the YouTube page. If you're there, do me a favor, click subscribe. Appreciate that as well. We're trying to boost those numbers as well. I think we're at like 27, 28. We're rolling pretty good for the YouTube page. Those things take a minute to get going. Big shout out to all of our friends of the show. I didn't mean to click that graphic. We will get to those in a second. But before we get started, it is time to talk about a little bit of news. It's time to spread that news, and it's time to spread the wave. We want to give a huge shout out to the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids, as we are the official broadcast team. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, as that will be the official broadcast home for the Falls Rapids. We'll be there for all preseason and regular season games. And a big shout out to our guys over at Sports Take Gridiron, as they'll be broadcasting our games over in the UK and in Ireland. Make sure you catch our interviews on the YouTube page, and make sure you follow the Falls Rapids on Facebook at the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids, on Instagram at Official Rapids, and get your Rapids gear at fallsrapids.myshopify.com. Hashtag spread the wave. All right. Now, it's time to talk about some news. And, bro, before we get to the biggest news of the week in terms of the NCAA tournaments, we missed last week. And, man, the NFL free agency frenzy went wild. I don't even know where the hell do we start. Okay. Devontae Adams to the Rams, DK Metcalf to the Steelers, Sam Darnold to the Seahawks after the Seahawks traded away their whole wide receiver room. The Bengals are shelling out money like it's mad with no salary cap. Where do we begin?
It's a tough question, but I think we have to talk about the biggest news, and that is that despite reports, Myles Garrett has returned to the Cleveland Browns.
I will put my hand up and say that I'm the first to say that I'm very surprised.
I will be the second hand that gets raised.
I mean, all I did from the minute he said that he wanted out of Cleveland was just begin to talk about what packages you could possibly get and where to send them. I'm going to say this because I pride myself on being not just honest when we do this, but consistent. Okay. I hold the same opinion no matter who you are. When Aaron Rodgers finally signed that big contract deal in Green Bay, I got on this show and said, what? It is clear now that all of that talk Aaron Rodgers did about wanting to win was crap, and he just wanted to get paid. Now, what he's doing now is different. I'm talking about when he signed that contract in Green Bay, that monster contract that didn't allow them to have any money to sign anybody else. It was clear there that all that talk about winning was garbage, and he just wanted to get paid. Miles, I had your back because you said this was about winning championships. And you said that you couldn't do it in Cleveland, and that's why you wanted to go. So either they have the greatest draft plan since the Draft Day movie, or all you cared about was the money.
So I think that initially, and I think this is 100% going to be giving Miles the benefit of the doubt here. I think initially, when that trade was put in, that was the thought. It was, I cannot win here. The contract that they're currently offering me isn't enough for me to stay. Even if they bump it up a little bit, I still want to go somewhere else because they'll pay me. And then he got the updated number and went, oh, never mind. I forgot it was the Browns, and they overpay the crap out of players for them to stay. I'ma just shut my mouth and stay, because this is exactly what my thought was when you were talking. Listen, some money talks, but a lot of money talk screams. And so I think that was the case here, where initially Myles Garrett probably wanted to go to a contender. Then he saw how much his game check was going to be, and kind of toned down the trade talks.
Listen, I love you to death. I told you in a heartbeat I'd sell you down the river to have a spot in the Pat McAfee roster there or something along that lines. Love you to death. Come me them checks, boy. Bills are still bills. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I don't, because it's not like Miles has not been paid. Okay, so let's. I know he hasn't been paid this amount, but he's been paid before, and I understand. But if you want to win, you go sign. You get traded somewhere. Okay, you sign your 1 to 2 year deal or whatever, and you win, and then you can make even more money. I know injuries and all of that. I get it, but I'm just. Then just say you're unhappy. Because no Cleveland Browns fan or anybody who's around this team would have complained if he just said, or called BS, if he just said, listen, I'm unhappy here. Yeah, I get it. I talk to miserable Browns fans every day. I understand how unhappy you all are. But when you throw the I want to win, it's about championships thing in there, now I have to step back and I have to give views. I got to knock you back. I got to criticize you, because and you didn't help the organization by taking a team-friendly deal to help them win a championship.
No.
So Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, Jackson Dart, somebody better step in that damn position and win a championship for you, because that's all you got.
But he's gonna recruit.
Kenny Pickett, baby. Kenny Pickett. Speaking of NFL free agency, shout out to the Cleveland Browns for being the only team this offseason to give up a draft pick for a backup quarterback. Congratulations.
For a Super Bowl winning quarterback that took the team in victory formation in the Super Bowl. But listen, I don't want to talk about the Browns anymore until August. So, dear God, let's move on to more fun news.
Hold on. I want to stay in the division, though.
That's fine. That's fine.
DK Metcalf to the Steelers. They traded away, or they did not re-sign Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. They did sign Mason Rudolph.
I can't wait for those slants to go 6 yards over DK Metcalf's head. Oh, it's going to be great.
Pittsburgh was this close to having it together. They took a giant step forward in trading for DK Metcalf. But I can't believe I'm about to say this, for as bad as this quarterback room has been, it's now taking another step further back.
Yeah. it's not great. You look
And
at the options remaining too, and neither of those are good. You have Rodgers, who is going to draw this out as long as he possibly can because he loves the drama.
and not even sure
even
if he
then,
actually wants to go to the Steelers anymore.
well, and even then, even if you get him, you have no idea what you're going to get out of him. You still technically have Russell Wilson, who I think honestly wants to come back, but is trying to force Pittsburgh's hand by going and talking to these other teams here. And then other than that, who do you want that's actually capable of doing it? That's not in the draft that you're going to have to reach for.
Well, this was my question because, okay, if you didn't want to pay Justin Fields that kind of money, fine. We knew somebody was going to. It happened to be the Jets. We'll see how that goes. Garrett Wilson, excited for that, to be reunited with his former Buckeye teammate. But we talked about last year, that Russ was having some issues, but one of the things we talked about was, I almost called him Kenny Pickens. George Pickens wasn't enough. They needed somebody else with Russ, and Russ could cook. You went and got him. Sign the damn quarterback up and let's go. Stop being stupid about this, because that's what I feel like they're being. You can still go get your guy in the draft. It's not like Russ is in his prime and you're about to build around him, but there's not many better stop bridge quarterbacks left. So I don't get it. Speaking of your division, because I wasn't going to let this go, I'm trying to see if we could get a contract from the Bengals because they're paying everybody. Joe Burrow with a couple $100 million. Jamar Chase with a couple $100 million. T. Higgins, here's a couple $100 million for you. They do realize that they have to pay defensive players, right?
So I looked it up. For those three players, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow, those three players account for 48% of their cap space. Listen. And so I don't know if they're just hoping that a ragtag group of seventh rounders and undrafted free agents is going to piece together that defense, but I wish them the best trying to not give up 30 points a game.
I understand. When I was a young man back in the day playing Madden on the PlayStation 2, I remember taking the Cowboys and signing Tony Romo and T.O. in a very young wide receiver, or my other
Dez.
Dez. I'm sorry, and a very young Dez, and just signing everybody to like 10-year contracts, and then couldn't figure out why no one else on my team could play because I had no one else there. But yeah, sure, I got nothing else on that one. All right,
and it's I was gonna say it's not like these players aren't worth that amount because if you look at everything else, like they fit pretty much thing. But name me the last time two receivers that were paid top 5, maybe top 8 money won a Super Bowl with a quarterback that was paid that much. Like it's not sustainable.
Nope, not at all. Real quick before I do jump out, I did not dive too much into this. That doesn't surprise me.
No,
it just doesn't. I really don't. Not saying he's not worth the money, but then when you have to turn around and give things to match that money in terms of players and picks, that makes it not worth it. So we'll leave your Browns alone and this division alone. Finally, my last one for you, because this is just kind of funny to me. What the hell is Seattle doing? They trade away DK Metcalf. They trade away Tyler Lockett, which we made fun of last week. Then they turned around and signed Sam Darnold and let Geno Smith go. If you were going to pay the money for the quarterback, don't you want at least somebody else for him to throw to other than Jackson Smith and Jigba, who's by all means an okay to good wide receiver, not great, not DK Metcalf.
And didn't we say
as much as Tyler Lockett? The hell you doing, Seattle?
Didn't we say last year that Darnold is only as good as his receiving room? And so this is going to be another scenario where Darnold comes in, they're going to go 5-12, and it's going to be like, oh, Darnold sucks. We knew this from the jump that Darnold is only as good as his weapons. And so if you are signing a guy like Darnold, you needed that original Seattle receiving room, or he wasn't going to play well. And so I don't know what Seattle's doing. Maybe they're going to unload with these receivers in the draft, and they're just going to sign like 4 of them, or like however many the Browns drafted in like 2016 when only one of them worked out. Maybe they're going to do that because it is a loaded wide receiver class in the draft this year. But like, why?
I get young wide receivers is the thing, not an entire room of them.
No.
You sprinkle 1 or 2 in at a time, not 4. But sure. Okay. Well, all right. I got no more on NFL free agency, and I have no more on news. So if you're good to go, I'm good to go.
Well, I'll just shout it out. Baseball has started this morning, and then tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., the Tokyo series is going on between LA and Chicago, as both teams do have.
Spoiler alert, Shohei Ohtani is hitting home runs and stealing bases.
Yeah, right. And so if you are up at that hour and have free time to watch television, I guess you could throw it on. Or if you are like Ken on a tow motor, you can, I guess, throw that on your phone and watch it if you want.
Don't expose the secret, sir.
But yeah, no, honestly, I'm just excited that baseball is back regardless. And so I wanted to throw that out there.
Is he booing Ohtani? That's what I'm assuming.
Probably. Or I think the Dodgers, honestly, more than anything.
I'm not gonna lie. I've checked out on my Guardians because I'm just ready for opening day. All I've noticed is we've lost a lot of spring training games going into this opening day. I'm just nothing. Not that that matters. I'm just saying it's what I've noticed. I check my box scores like an old man, and I'm just like, wow, we're not winning. We're getting it together. But all right, let's keep it rolling. It is time for your Straub bruh of the week. It's time to hand out some backhands and some head slaps to your boneheads of the week. And I'm going to start, and I might ruin the whole segment because I've been sitting on this for about 3 weeks now, and it's finally my turn to talk about it. I have one and only one today. I know that's weird. I normally like go on and on. That is really weird. Are you okay? Yeah. Stephen A. Smith.
Oh,
I want to weigh in on this topic because I have a show and I can. Number one, it is about time, okay, that someone has checked him over his comments that are personal and not basketball, okay? Yeah. And 2, even more, because you've told players in the past, hey, if it's an ever issue, come see me, come talk to me. Well, LeBron tried to reach out to you. You rejected that, then complained about it. So then LeBron saw you at a game, approached you, and then you still complained about it. And I'll say this. As a father, let's pretend that in 20 years, Landon decides to pick up the podcast broadcast business and is able to make ways because of foundations that me and you have laid. Okay? I would love that. Okay? He would be exposing himself to criticism, so he better have good takes and he better be fair and he better be right. However, you ever put in that sentence of criticism, you failed as a father, I'm pulling up on you too. Facts. That's it. So criticize Bronny as a basketball player. That's fine. He's tearing up the G League. It is where he belongs. I also 100% understand because of the extra media criticism that he gets, why they don't take him on the road. You're literally setting up like security issues based on the kind of hate he could potentially get. At the same time, talk about his play. When you start the sentence with, well, you as a father need to fix this, and no, man. Look, that's what happened to you, and then you still complained about it. Stephen A. Smith, Straub Bro of the Week.
No, that's very fair. There comes a point
and real quick, and I'm sorry, this is correct. What he said in his criticism of Bronny was right. Don't let that slide through. Nobody's saying that. Don't talk about the way he is a father, because I will stand on business on one thing. That dude's been a good dad, and that dude's a role model in terms of being a dad.
Right. And I think that's the thing. It's like, obviously as a celebrity, you open yourself up to criticism, but there comes a point as a journalist that you need to understand that regardless of your feelings on things, and especially with a platform the size of Stephen A. Smith, what you say has a meaningful impact on how a person feels, especially a dude who's 20 years old, trying to get out of his dad's shadow. And regardless of how he does consistently, one, being criticized as if he were his father, but now giving other people who have criticized his father for years more ammo that shouldn't be thrown at him. And so I think it's something that you have to set the example and not turn into these Twitter guys that want to say something just for attention.
as Stephen A. Smith has his nephew on his podcast.
Right.
Like you're not also helping people get through like you're supposed to when you get your foot in the door. So yes. Yeah, I was good on that. All right, your turn. My bad. I told you I was going to derail the whole damn thing.
You're good. Mine is a little less, or is a little more lighthearted, but it is still angry. My straw bruh of the week is the MLS and all of the teams that are encompassed in that. And honestly, U.S. soccer as a general. Why is that? Because as we have opened up the MLS season and the U.S. soccer season, today actually starts the opening of the Open Cup. And I said this last year, and I will continue to say it as long as it is true. MLS and U.S. soccer, you are failing this country as a soccer or a nation if you are continuing to allow the top tier to not have to be in this competition. It is a competition that highlights and allows players from different teams, regardless of how low they are, to show how amazing this country is and can be at soccer with their players, the teams, the fans, and gives them the opportunity that they would never get in their league. And by making your youth teams play them and making sure that there's no attendance to these games, you are crippling the lower structures of this nation as a soccer organization, and are only doing it because you want more money in your upper level so that you don't have to play ball with the other organizations. And it has pissed me off time and time again. Last year, there were a couple standout teams. This year, there are none, and it aggravates me even further. And so everybody involved in this gets a straw bruh of the week. And also, yes, that I was also going to say the fact that West Virginia did not make the tournament absolutely baffles me, and it's only because of North Carolina blue blood status. And I know we still have straw bruh of the week that kind of ties us into the next segment.
I could not tell you who deserved to be in her out. So I will not have a discussion there. I will say this, 2 points. Number one, that is why the USL has decided to start their own professional soccer league. Shout out to Akron City FC because they are in one of the first tiers with an opportunity to make it in. I know they're in USL 2, but still the lower one. But and number two, if you stick around and you pay attention to our soccer segment, it is filled anytime there are cup tournaments with stories about lower divisions and lower tier teams upsetting teams and making big runs and making things happen. So it's disappointing that the MLS refuses to play ball. All right. Let's get happier. It is time for your Straub Bro of the Week, presented to you by
We at the Straub Bro Sports Show want to give a big shout out to somebody who's been with us since day one of the podcast, and that's Austin Fink over at Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Make sure you follow them on Instagram at Create Your Own Wave 2021 for all the hottest new designs, and get your clothing at cyowapparel.myshopify.com. Don't ride the wave, create your own.
Right. All right, bro. Straub Bro of the Week presented to you by Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Don't ride the wave, create your own, and become the Straub Bro of the Week. Get us back on the happy track.
Yes, and because we have a massive basketball section and are going to have a pretty decent length soccer section as well, we can't cover everything in soccer. So there was a cup final this week, an EFL Cup, and that is probably the first major cup of the season, where in the next 2-3 months there's going to be a lot of cups getting handed out, and that is the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup. And it was between Liverpool and Newcastle, where Newcastle basically extended Liverpool's run of getting knocked out of tournaments after exclaiming they were going to get the quadruple, as they got knocked out in penalties by PSG, got knocked out of the FA Cup by Plymouth Argyle, and now lost the EFL Cup final to Newcastle. So my Straub Bro of the Week is Newcastle, just because I enjoy some diversity in my cups, and I also don't believe that new Liverpool is that good of a team to be winning more than one trophy. Also, congratulations, Pops. I know that you were probably cheering on it on Sunday.
First of all, Pops, you're an honorary Strawbro of the week this week too. If you know, you know. Secondly, their first trophy in 57 years. First trophy in 57 years. That is a proud club. That is a major club that was starving for some silverware. Congratulations to them. Big shout out to my Notre Dame College goalie Craig Pickering, massive from Newcastle, massive Newcastle fan. Congratulations to him and all of their fans and the boys. You only have one? As you said?
Yeah, I always only have one.
That's fine. All right, throw it over to me. I am going to throw in a little bit of basketball. I am going to spoil some of the alerts. I want to give some love to the UC San Diego Tritons, the only team in NCAA history to get both men's and women's programs into the NCAA tournament in their first year of D1 eligibility. Come on now. Like that is amazing. Pops, you already know. You're welcome. And lastly, I have two, but technically this is just a shout out because we're about to lead in to our men's and women's NCAA segment. To all of the D1 men and women athletes about to embark on their last run of games, just know this, and I had to learn it the hard way myself. Very rarely do we get to end our career with a win. It's normally a loss, but that does not take away what you have accomplished as a basketball player. Congratulations and good luck to all of our teams. And with that being said, let's talk tourney, baby. Now,
Yes.
The NCAA tournament kicks off technically tonight with your playing games. Technically right now. Tonight, right now. I don't know if there's a game on right now yet.
6:40.
Let's go. So running into the end of it as we get done. Now, I do want to mention real quick. We have the Straub Sports Show NCAA Men's and Women's Bracket Challenge. What I need everybody to do is go to my Facebook page or go to the Straub Sports Show page and find those links. I'll share them again tonight. Enter in. You will have to enter your email. I apologize. Set your name, set your teams, join our group. Once you click the link, you'll be able to join right in. And fill out your bracket to try to win the bracket challenge. Now, Straub, who cares? This is just some lame challenge, right? There's nothing about it. There's no prize. There's no winnings. Why would we do this? Incorrect. We have the winner of the Straub Sports Show men's and women's bracket challenge. So if you are the same person, you get two. If it's split, obviously you will get one of these custom 1-of-1 Rapids t-shirts, because the Falls Rapids are sponsoring our bracket challenge. The winner gets this beautiful t-shirt, Rapids Bracket Challenge, presented by the Straub Sports Show. Come on now. Come on.
Beautiful. I may be relooking at my bracket now to make sure that I can win this t-shirt.
Well, check your men's bracket because the women's bracket's not going to happen for any of y'all. I got that taken care of. So just like last year, I was very close. This year, I'll be bringing that home. On the men's side, speaking of which, let's get into it. Let's hit the bracket, Strabo. Oh, wow. All right.
It's a big bracket. I don't know what you want from me.
I can't see anything on that bracket, but that's okay. What we're going to do is, can I go next? Oh, no, that's the women's side? Okay.
That's women's. That's okay. Bottom. That's top.
Okay. That's a little hard to see. I'm not going to lie, Straub.
That's why you got the thing right there.
That's why I got the thing right here in front of me. Now, Strabo, what is your biggest upset potential in the first round? Pull your brackets out. If you don't have them out, get your brackets out. That's all right. Get your brackets out. Pull your phone out. Strabo, give it to me. We'll start in the South region. How about we start in the South region? We're all over the place today. Let's start in the South region. Number 1, Auburn. Number 2, Michigan State. Talk to me about the South.
All right. I'm going to throw this up just so everyone can see. Full screen, you can see. Full screen, you can see. I promise.
Okay. All right. Full screen, you can see.
So we'll start in the South, and this is actually where my biggest upset is.
Okay.
As we know, Michigan State is almost a blue blood team, if not a blue blood team. But Tom Izzo, his record in March, it's not great recently.
It's not great.
It's not great. And when you look at this Bryant team, they average 6 points a game. They're great on defense. They were blowing teams out in their conference tournaments. I only have 2 major upsets in this bracket. This is my one.
My man.
Bryant is a team that is on a mission, and Michigan State is a team, especially Tom Izzo, that is known to play down to their opponent, especially in March. Give me Bryant on this one.
My man out here with that Bryant University. Is it Bryant University? University of Bryant? I don't even know.
Bryant University. Go Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs. I fucking love you. All right. Well, here's mine. Okay. I'm gonna keep it short and simple. 12 beats of 5 every year. Give me UC San Diego. That team I gave the Straub Bro of the Week to. Give me them to take out mighty Michigan. Okay. And also, here's a big one. The winner of the San Diego State UNC matchup. Watch out for them to upset Ole Miss.
Okay.
All right. Let's head where you want to go? I'll let you decide.
Let's go over to the East. So then I gotta change my graphics.
That's fine. That's number one Duke. That is where the University of Akron has found itself. Number 2, Alabama. VCU, Wisconsin, Baylor, Oregon, Liberty, just a couple teams to name in that side of the bracket. Straub, upset and or team to watch out for.
So I don't have a lot of upsets in this. I think it's going to be pretty soon. I know a lot of people from around here are going to be rooting for Akron in that Arizona game, so no worries about that there. Also, upset, I know a lot of people like that VCU team. They've been killing it. Their defense is really good, and if BYU gets cold, I still got BYU, but I say watch out for that. If you're looking for a team to watch that's not in like your top 3, the winner, if Arizona easily defeats Akron, the winner of the Oregon-Akron game, obviously depending on if Oregon moves on, I think could cause some noise against Duke.
Oregon Liberty.
Yeah, well, I'm saying Oregon-Arizona if they move on. The winner of that game, if they play Duke, if they play Baylor, whoever moves on, they could make some noise there. I like both of those teams, if they get hot, to take down a top seed because of how good their upside is.
Not so fast, my friend. Give me Akron over Arizona. Give me Liberty over Oregon.
All righty.
Other than that, yeah. First of all, we never really. We'll head back. We'll head back. We'll circle back. I like what we're doing right now. So I'm not done in this bracket. This is the hysteria bracket for me. Okay, I think Duke's gonna ride it out, but I like Liberty over Oregon, Akron over Arizona, VCU over BYU, and I also really like the St. Mary's team.
I like the St. Mary's too, but
not an upset in the first round, but I like the St. Mary's team. So
yes,
no chalk over here, baby.
All right. Let's move on over to the Midwest region. We got I went to the women's. Number 1, Florida. Number 2, St. John's. Number 8, UConn, by the way. Now that's
the West, technically, but that's okay.
It's the Midwest.
Oh, Midwest is Houston on my bracket.
I think you got a wrong bracket because I got this from online. No, I'm joking. Not a lot of craziness here for me, but there is one. Coming into this tournament, this is a Memphis team.
Oh, okay.
That played well, but was barely beating opponents in the American. They kind of hung on at the end. I know that any conference play is tough regardless of the strength, but when it comes to kind of tournaments like this, you got to be coming in strong, and they really weren't. This Colorado State team won their conference championship. They are playing amazing basketball right now. They're coming in hot. Give me Colorado State to beat Memphis, and give me a hot Oklahoma team that barely lost to Kentucky over UConn in the first round for a not a crazy seeded upset, but in terms of historically an historic upset. As in my opinion, UConn is not coming in hot enough, and I think this Oklahoma team is going to get in hot and cause some trouble for UConn.
This is the scariest side of the bracket because
Yes.
there's just so like something weird is going to happen. But here's one thing that I think is going to happen. I think you're completely wrong. I love this. We are completely on the opposite end of this today, not on purpose. This is organic as hell, and I love this. It's all about there's 2 seasons in NCAA. There's the regular, there's technically kind of 3. There's the regular season, that early regular season to middle of the season, that end of the regular season and championships. Then there's the NCAA tournament. I think all of the chaos that UConn has navigated has them primed and ready to go. And I think they are one of the most dangerous slept on teams right now because of all of the issues they had. I like UConn to almost start to run through this. Here's my sleeper team that I really, really like, my Maryland Terrapins. Watch out for them. I think they can make a nice run as well because I think Colorado State can upset Memphis, and now we have everything to play with them in Maryland. But, and we haven't talked about them yet, and I'm going to spoiler alert because I'm going to ride with them a lot. St. John's.
We're not getting in there. We're talking favorites after.
Okay. But yeah, upset wise, not a lot here for me. I like UConn rolling, and I like Maryland to meet them. At the bottom, I don't really. Yeah, give me UNCW over Texas Tech because why not? Something weird's got to happen, right?
All right. Moving over finally to the West, where you have number 1 Houston, number 2 Tennessee. I actually have some pretty interesting ones here. I watched a good amount of the ACC tournament, and listen, I know this Clemson team has had a lot of wins and stacked a lot of wins. Man, are they shaky on offense. And you know what? A team like McNeese is the exact perfect team to come in and win a 65-63 game against Clemson, a grinded out win. I have McNeese beating Clemson. I also have McNeese upsetting Purdue as the one team to make it into the Sweet 16. That is how highly I want this. I think this McNeese team can go.
Wow, sir. That's impressive. I don't like a lot of teams in this side. I'm not actually. There's only one team I like, but I will say that since we're not doing like favorites and things like that. Texas / Xavier over Illinois is something to look out. I like both of those. I like both of my play-in teams. On the 11 seed side there. High Point over Purdue. Scary. Watch it. Just keep an eye on it. I agree with you on McNeese. Anybody taking down Clemson's good in my book. And there's something about these 8 seeds. Okay, I talked about UConn on the other side. Gonzaga. Well, who do they have? It doesn't matter. That is a team that knows how to win come March. So watch for. Don't be surprised if all of a sudden you're looking up and you're like, Gonzaga again.
I like also.
Oh, by the way,
you talked about it
real quick. I think Houston is the most fraudulent number 1,
and we'll get into it. And you talked about it. That Texas Xavier matchup. Honestly, even after that Illinois game, I kind of have them favored over a Kentucky team that starts hot, but then towards the end of games just doesn't know how to close out games and is ripe for the picking for an upset if a team hangs around. And that's why I like that Tennessee Xavier matchup. Now, we're going to go back to the front. Ken, in the South, who are your favorites? Give me an Elite 8 pick here. 2 teams that you like.
I kind of disagreed with you. I kind of like Michigan State. But to me, the real sneaky team in this side of the bracket here is going to be the winner of Ohio State versus San Diego State UNC. I like Ohio State.
I'm
sorry. And up top, look for I know you're gonna be like, what? Look for a UC San Diego versus Auburn Sweet 16 matchup that Auburn wins.
That's going to be, I would like to see that. I agree with you up top. I think Auburn, while it has some faults, I think their talent is going to get them through the first 2 or 3 rounds. That's why I have Auburn going all the way through. And then down at the bottom, I've watched this Iowa State team all season. They do get flustered at times if their scheme doesn't go the right way, but they are schemed so well that it takes so much to take every option away. So I like Iowa State. I like Auburn. Those are my 1 and 3. As we're going to see going forward, my Elite 8 is pretty chalk. It's pretty standard. I think just due to the fact that I think the top teams are so good above and beyond kind of some of these lower teams this year, but you never know. All right, Ken, East Region, you got Duke 1, Bama 2, Wisconsin 3. What are we looking at here?
First of all, I find it hilarious that after all of our arguing, we chalked it to the same teams. That was pretty damn funny. Man, I know you shouldn't. I'm looking at a VCU versus Alabama matchup with a Liberty versus Duke matchup. And I'm gonna go with some chalk. Give me Duke and Alabama.
Unfortunately, like I said, I hate doing chalk, but I have to agree with you. I think Cooper Flagg is coming back. He's going to be ready to go. And honestly, even if he's not, this is a team that won the ACC handedly without him even in there. And so that's a team that I think Oregon and or Arizona is going to give trouble, but I think they're going to pass. And then, yeah, Alabama. I know their defense is sometimes, not great, but I don't think any of those teams other than maybe BYU could give them troubles, and even BYU potentially could get upset just because how cold they could be from the 3-point line at times. So give me Alabama, give me Duke.
Plus, some kids aren't allowed to eat chocolate or sugar before the game.
Right, they can't get pumped up.
They can't get pumped up.
All right, and also, Midwest.
Real quick, and I can say this because I don't have. I mean, I love Notre Dame, but our basketball team on the men's side sucks. Roll Tide there. All right, where are we going? West, Florida.
We're going to the Midwest Florida? With Florida, St. John's. You have a UConn team in there. You have a Kansas team in there. A lot of blue bloods as well, along with kind of your top contenders.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I got UConn versus St. John's. And this is my hardest decision of the entire bracket. I went St. John's.
Listen.
Give me Rick Pitino, okay? Give me the fact that he's won conference championships now in 4 or 5 different. The man just knows how to win, and I think this team is ready. And I'm echoing what every other person in New York says. There's something a little different going on in New York when St. John's is good.
Oh, I 100% agree. I will say, like I said, I picked the upset of Oklahoma over UConn, but regardless, this Florida team is absolutely insane. When it's rolling, and it's rolling right now, it absolutely manhandled Tennessee. And so I am looking for this Florida team to come up big and just start laying the smackdown on some of these teams. And I think St. John's is going to come up, and I think it's going to be one where we're all rooting for St. John's because Florida's just smacking everybody. But I think Florida moves on. But that's going to be a topic for another discussion. I also have St. John's, and I love this St. John's team. I love when old teams that were good get brought back up into relevance. I was with Memphis in the conference. I didn't like it when we were with them, but I love it when Memphis is good. I like it when these older teams are good. And with St. John's and Florida, I think those are your top 2 teams. I know it's out of the tournament, not in the NIT.
We're at Seton Hall.
Oh, even worse. They have 7 wins this season. It's really bad. But those are the 2 teams. I know they're 1 and 2, but I think those are 2 really good teams.
Man. The only other thing, and I'm just because I said it before, my Maryland Terrapins. That's the scary one to watch out for. All right, bro, let's keep going.
Yes, and finally to the west, you have your 1 Houston, in which you made a statement which you're going to have to defend. 2 Tennessee, 3 Kentucky, and then honestly, I think you made a really good point here. this is a very winnable bracket our side of the bracket if one team just gets really hot, regardless of who it is.
And it'll be number 2 Tennessee. I got Tennessee versus Gonzaga.
You're going to have to back up your Houston take here.
I know. I got them winning round 1 at least.
Yes, you called them those fraudulent number 1 seed. We're going to need some.
I didn't say fraudulent. I said the weakest.
We're gonna have to rewind that.
Okay, well, all right, fine. I apologize if I said fraudulent. I meant weakest.
Well, I have again chalk. I have Houston. I think one, they had a disservice to them when they were in the American. They weren't ready, but they were playing just as good in the Big 12 as they played in the American. They are blowing teams out. They are playing absolutely amazing basketball right now. I think this Gonzaga team will give them trouble, but I think they'll pass. And then after that, there's nobody other than Tennessee that they have to kind of come up against. And so I think this is a fantastic side of the bracket for anyone to take. But I think Tennessee, as long as they don't play like they did when they got bounced out of the tournament, they'll be fine. And then Houston, if they just keep rolling and keep playing that absolutely stifling defense and get to 70, 75 points, they're going to be just fine.
Yes, Ken has all the upsets, which is why my men's bracket usually goes up in flames. And when I do the opposite on the women's side, I do good. Number 2, I don't care. Listen, man. UCLA, places by the bay, eating some hay, Lakers in 5. Yeah, don't care. Tennessee. All right.
Now, you had your things. I want your, you haven't done it already, but if you have, I want your national championship game. You had St. John's, you had Tennessee, you had Auburn, and you had either Alabama or Duke.
Yeah, I have St. John's versus Duke, the most
Let's
ever.
Go.
Is that what you have?
Nope, I have Duke versus Florida with Cooper Flag scoring 30, winning the Natty over Florida. Like I said, very chalk, which sucked. But I think, honestly, if you look at how good these teams are this year, I think there is a little bit of a gap between your 1s and 2s and your 3s and 4s and 5s.
I have St. John's winning it all. Subject to change because I can change my bracket when I want because that's how it works.
Up till 10 a.m. on Thursday, by the way, for those that still want to change their brackets.
Yes, and make sure you join the Straub Sports Show men's and women's bracket challenge and get yourself this beautiful, sexy 1-of-1 t-shirt sponsored by the Falls Rapids. Shout out to Anna for cooking that thing up for us. That is awesome. That is yours if you win the Straub Sports Show bracket challenge. All right, Straub, we're going to take a quick pause before we jump into the women's side. And what better to take a break with than some bacon?
We got to give a big shout out to the official bakery of the Straub Sports Show. That's Schmoopy's Sweets and Treats. Make sure you follow Schmoopy's Sweets and Treats on Facebook, where you jump into the DMs and get everything that you need. All your baked goods, allergy-free and gluten-free, with a full menu of breads, bagels, danishes, donuts, cheesecakes, muffins, danishes, and cannolis. Make sure you get in and get your orders in, free delivery in the local area. That's Schmoopy's Sweets and Treats. We got to give a big shout out to the official.
My bad. Straub, we're going to have to figure out why that's the only one that goes full screen on us, helping us out there. All right. Now, we don't forget about our ladies on this show. Straub, it's time for the women's bracket.
Yes. Now, I think like we said, we've been saying this. Listen, we got some teams here. It's not just South Carolina and Iowa. It's, you know what I mean? We have a lot of teams here.
That, I'm not going to lie, though, I still got me a lot of chalk.
I mean, yeah.
All right, Straub, we can start in the wherever you want.
We'll start in the Spokane 1 region. Why not? You have number 1 UCLA. You got number 2 NC State, which I think is an amazing number 2 seed. Number 3 LSU is absolutely crazy. These are number 4 Baylor, number 5 Ole Miss. This is a stacked side of the bracket, if I'm being completely honest. Ken, who do you have any upsets? I'd honestly, with women, it's very hard to pick a lot of these upsets. But if you have any upsets, let me know. If not, who are your favorites out of this side of the bracket?
I am currently trying to open up my Straub Sports Show women's bracket.
I can name some of mine.
Yeah, why don't you start for me? Oh, actually, wait. The UCLA region? Okay, here I am. Whoa. Yes. Almost took everything in the world out. Okay. First of all, I really, really like this UCLA team, but I know we're not going to talk about that. Upset-wise, I like Georgia Tech. I know that's not a huge upset there. I also kind of like this George Mason team as well.
I was looking at the George Mason team. I think Florida State's got the edge there. I do agree with your Georgia Tech. I think that's a great pick there. Also, look out for that Harvard team. We're talking about it's. We always talk like you talked about Yale on the men's side. Look out for that Harvard team to potentially pull off an upset there. But if we're talking favorites, I think the 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a dominant top 4 teams there. I think, especially not even just how they're playing now, but just their ability to win in tournaments like this. I love all of them, but UCLA and NC State this year are on a complete other level. Give me UCLA and NC State as your Elite 8 coming out of this region.
Oh, you went all the way to the Elite 8 on me like that?
I mean, it's just the top 2 teams from this region. We did it with the men's too.
That's very, very true. For some reason, oh, here it is. Did it save? No, it didn't. Apparently my bracket didn't save, so I get a freebie on everything. Yeah, I don't think there's any way UCLA gets touched. I'm not gonna lie. I disagree with you on one thing. I'm really, 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 really high on tournament LSU. So I like UCLA versus LSU.
I like it.
I'm locked in. I got my bracket in now.
I love it. All right, so moving on to the other side of the bracket, you have South Carolina as your 1. Not a dominant South Carolina, but still a great South Carolina. Duke at 2. You have North Carolina at 3. This kind of honestly, this is feeling like a men's bracket right now. Maryland at 4. Alabama at 5. Ken, who are you feeling right now?
I also want to give a shout out to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Or yes. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Green Bay, Milwaukee. Your MAC representative on the women's side there. Shout out to them. Also, shout out to our CSU girls. They'll be playing in the women's NIT. Shout out to them. First of all, South Carolina. Upset wise, Oregon over Vanderbilt. And then here's what I think. I think the winner of West Virginia and I'm sorry, I have to make sure this matches up before I mess everything up that I'm about to say. I think West Virginia can make a run on the bottom side, and I like Maryland to take on South Carolina and give South Carolina a run for their money. But in the end, I have South Carolina winning this region, hands down.
I do as well, and unfortunately, I do have to disagree with you on the West Virginia. That Washington coming out of that first 4 against Columbia, I think is going to be a real tough test, and I do think Washington's going to come out on that one. Sorry, family. I know we're big West Virginia fans on that side, but I do like Washington. However, I do agree with you. I think that South Carolina team coming out is just, regardless of how not dominant as they were the previous season, I think it's still going to be the same as before. Also,
with the Grand Canyon upset over Baylor. I disagree because I think Baylor is good. That did go back to the other one. I think Baylor does end up playing UCLA, but
I do like that. And I will say, unfortunately, this Indiana team has to play South Carolina. If they were anywhere else in the bracket, I would give them a chance. But yeah, I do like that Indiana team. But yeah, I do think that South Carolina will be in that region. All right, we're going to move on to Birmingham 3 region with USC as your number 1, UConn as your number 2, Oklahoma as your 3, Kentucky as your 4 with Sean likes, and Kansas State as your 5. Ken, how are we feeling?
I have this being the region of some upsets. Okay. Now, first of all, they're not going to be USC. Okay. I got them running, but I like Murray State over Iowa, and I like South Dakota. Give me the South Dakota State Jackrabbits over the Oklahoma State Cowgirls.
I like it.
However, that's
now.
However, in the end, give me UConn versus USC, and give me USC over UConn.
I was going to say, absolutely agree. I think USC is absolutely fantastic. I think that is the team to beat, in my opinion, in this tournament is USC. I think that they are the best women's team right now. In terms of upsets, I have Kansas State going to the Sweet 16. I do think they lose to USC, but I think they beat Kentucky. And then I like Oklahoma State, and so I think that is a team that could potentially give UConn some trouble, depending on how good this UConn team comes out, but we'll see there. But yeah, I think, like I said, USC, in my opinion, is honestly, I'm going to spoil it, that is my champion in this tournament because I love this USC team so much.
A lot of people like UCLA, but yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there. All right, let's get
and if we're talking about upset region, this one is mine. Spokane 4 region, number 1 Texas, number 2 TCU, number 3 Notre Dame, number 4 Ohio State. Ken, I know you're going to pick Notre Dame to go to at least the Elite 8. Who else you got?
Elite 8?
At least, I said. Okay. At least.
Okay. So, to be fair, I do have Region 3. Wrong side. Sorry. I was already out. I got some upsets. I like Creighton over Illinois. Yeah. Riding with my Creighton Blue Jays. Yeah, and I kind of think Nebraska can give Louisville a sneaky good game. Other than that, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of bias and there's a lot of chalk over here. First of all, okay, to get to the Sweet 16, I have Texas over Creighton. I have Tennessee beating Ohio State. I have TCU upsetting Louisville. I did say that they would get a tough game, but I think they can advance. And I have Notre Dame over Michigan. So, yes, in my Sweet 16, that gives me Texas versus Tennessee, Notre Dame versus TCU. That gives me Hannah Hidalgo versus Haley Van Lith. If there wasn't Notre Dame involved, it would be a much tougher decision. I have Texas over Tennessee. I have Notre Dame over TCU. And if you thought it was going any other way, you don't watch this show enough. Notre Dame over Texas. Go Irish. Hannah Hidalgo, ACC offensive and defensive player of the year and defensive player of the year. Go Irish. Go get them, girls.
Anyone who thought that was going to go any other way is, like you said, just either hasn't watched the show or thought Ken was going to change his bias overnight. It was never going to happen. Now, Kenny, I have Notre Dame in my Sweet 16. I have TCU in my Sweet 16. I have Texas in my Sweet 16. But I have the team that beats Texas and moves on to the Elite 8 to face Notre Dame, and that is Ohio State.
Ooh, Buckeye Nation in the building.
This is an Ohio State women's team that is averaging 79 points a game. They are getting hot at the absolute right time. I love this team. They only lost to UCLA, but they beat Iowa. They beat Michigan State. They beat Purdue. This is a team that I really think can get on a run and get hot and get past Texas in this tournament. Now, will they get past Notre Dame? Nope. I don't believe so. I think this Notre Dame team is built for tournaments like this. But I like Ohio State to go far in this tournament.
Who you got in the Final Four?
I have Notre Dame. I have UCLA,
Ooh.
I have USC, and I have South Carolina. Now, Ken, unfortunately, I will say I do have South Carolina beating Notre Dame to face USC in the national championship, but I think all those games are going to be close like they typically are.
You hurt my feelings. Not really.
I'm sure.
Yeah, not really. Hold on. I'm gonna run this in because I know what I want, just so I can read this much easier. Yep. All right, my Elite Eight. UCLA, LSU, USC, UConn, South Carolina, Duke, Texas, Notre Dame. I like UCLA. I like USC. I like South Carolina. I like Notre Dame. I like UCLA over USC. I like Notre Dame over South Carolina, and I like Notre Dame to win it all. And if you thought that was going, like I said,
shocker.
Right, we're good. I'm riding it. Come on now. Mom says just texted me that. But yeah. All right. So yeah, that'll do it. Now, like I said, get in that bracket challenge. We will update it every week. Undecided when we're doing our show next week. So when me and Straub figure that out, we will then get it together and let everybody know. We'll have the bracket updated as far as we go. If you're going to make any wagers, please bet responsibly. All right. And that'll do it for the NCAA segment. Like I said, we're not talking Guardians. And yeah, Cavaliers keep winning. Spoiler alert. Yeah, they dropped one to Orlando. That was a good loss, actually.
Who cares?
I'm going to say that. It was a good one to lose. But without further ado, we are going to jump into some footy. And in the meantime, we'll bring you the newest sponsor of the show.
We want to give a big shout out to our newest sponsor on the Straub Sports Show, and that's Marvis Hood at Limitless Health, Wellness, and Training. Limitless Health, Wellness, and Training is an all-encompassing health and wellness company dedicated to helping everyone achieve what might seem hard or impossible. They offer in-person, one-on-one training, virtual training, and small classes. They personalize all workouts because everyone is their own person, and your workout should reflect that. Make sure you get in contact with Marvis Hood via email, phone, or Instagram to set up your training now.
I have to start that, man. You're getting some shape.
Who are you telling? Yeah, shout out to Marvis Hood. Absolutely. Rico's doing it too. So Rico is a member. We got some other members of the Rapids staff and players who are on board doing some workouts. Check them out as well. All right, Straub, let's roll on to some footy, baby. We got a lot to talk about. We've got some major points. Bro, my team is okay good again. First things first, 2 wins on the trot, baby. Let's go. Liverpool have all but locked up the English Premier League. The race for Europe is the only storyline. Thank goodness it's a good one. As you mentioned in your Strawbro of the Week, Newcastle get their first major trophy in 60 years. Champions League and Europa League advances. And we have United States men's national team friendlies upon us. Drew, let's roll.
Yes. So as you can see on the preview, like Ken said, Liverpool 12 points ahead. Unless an absolute calamity, we'll see. But I think, like you said, the bigger race between 4th and probably 10th is a 5-point gap. And so Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, all up for grabs here. And some big results for those teams. Chelsea, my Chelsea, and City drop points. Brighton, I know they drop points, but a draw against City I think is great for them. Brighton or Fulham with a great win over Tottenham. Bournemouth lose again, so they're kind of sinking down, which unfortunately is kind of not killing a great season, but it's kind of putting I don't know. It's not as good as they were hoping for. So Ken, yeah, what are you thinking about this table so far?
Manchester United up to 13th place after a 3-0 win over Leicester City. That's what I want to start and talk about. Bruno Fernandes on the trot, baby. Let's go.
Appreciate that. My FPL captain last week.
after having a hat trick in Europe over the week, in which we took care of Real Sociedad to move on in the Europa League as well. But I'll be honest. Chelsea, Manchester City, and Newcastle got lucky because Brighton, Fulham, Aston Villa, who's making a late charge, which is may not have enough games left. Bournemouth and Brentford, they've all kind of petered out, and the lack of squad depth. Like I said, for Aston Villa, it's a little bit different. The January transfers they made were electric with Marcus Rashford and Marcus Asensio. But everyone else, Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Brentford, they've fallen off. Lack of squad depth, lack of quality when you have to dip into 15 to 14 to 17 on the roster, places in, have really kind of bailed out Newcastle, and especially bailed out, no offense, Chelsea and Manchester City, because had these teams been flying, had these teams have like the squad depth of, and I know everybody's going to laugh at our placement, but take a healthy full Manchester United squad and a Tottenham squad. Okay. Playing well. Okay. Playing well. That I know that's the biggest thing there when you see two teams in 13 to 14, but if they were actually playing well, Chelsea and Manchester City would be in a lot tougher position than they are now. They have everything in their hand. Take care of the business that you have the squad to take care of with, and you're good to go.
No, I get it. I will say though,
don't laugh at my point like that.
I was more laughing at you saying that if Manchester United played well, as if this is the first time you've won 2 in a row in probably however many weeks. As you were begrudgingly going through our soccer segment the last time we were on the show. No, I don't know. I'm liking it. Obviously, I'm nervous, but I'm a good nervous. Last season it took a amazing run of form to even get us into 6th place last season, and so to be in 4th currently, to be in this race, it's fun. It's nerve-wracking, but it's fun, and so I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Straub brought of the week to Southampton, Leicester City, and Ipswich Town. Like, he didn't even try. But yeah,
it's not even close.
No. Shout out to Wrexham as well, as they have now moved into 2nd place in League One, fighting for automatic promotion to get into the championship. All right, let's keep it rolling.
Yes, so we also had Champions League Leg 2. And honestly, some of these were really fun. I was very happy. Some of these I wanted to be close and they weren't, but some of these I wanted to be close and they were. As you can see by the first one, PSG ties it up and takes out Liverpool 4-1 on pens. A great game, both games for them. I think the pens don't really tell the story on kind of how even these games were. I think it was great. I think Liverpool obviously hung on, but it was a great defensive performance. PSG, I think, just came out on the other end well in terms of momentum. So that was a great result.
1 second. I'm gonna pull this full screen for a second. Liverpool,
the Manchester United fan has something to say about Liverpool. I want to hear about this.
Liverpool, you're running away with the English Premier League. Congratulations. It's all but in hand, and congratulations on that. You ain't winning shit else.
Alrighty. The man in 13th place is talking shit on the team that has the most Champions Leagues, or second most behind Real Madrid.
That's all right. That's all right, man. Potential Europe. I'll take that.
Barcelona pull away from Benfica on a 4-1 aggregate. As I asked last week if the Benfica manager meant anything by his comments that he was backing his team for the next round. Maybe he was just trying to motivate him because he knew they weren't ready for Barcelona in the second leg. So I don't know, not great, but I mean, an even worse result. Aston Villa put 3 more on Club Brugge to win 6-1 on aggregate. As Aston Villa, listen, maybe not trying the best in the Prem, but they're trying to win a Champions League and looking dang good while doing it.
Sneaky, they're sneaky. I don't know what their draw is next. We'll find out, but sneaky.
Yes, Dortmund hang on against powerhouses Lille, 3-2 on aggregate.
The most mid-ass matchup in this whole entire round.
For my Dortmund fans, the one Dortmund fan that I know, good luck. That's going to be really tough moving on after barely beating Lille, but we'll see. I'll stay at the bottom because I want to talk about the top one last. Inter Milan kind of stave off Feyenoord 4-1 on aggregate, kind of keep it close. Arsenal threw in their backups for most of the game and drew 2-2 to win 9-3 on aggregate after an amazing first leg.
I won't spoil Americans abroad.
Bayern Munich just took care of business again against their rivals Leverkusen as they win 2-0 in the second leg and 5-0 on aggregate. And finally, unfortunately, again, Atletico cannot beat its big brother Real Madrid as they tie it 1-0 and 2-2 on aggregate, but lose to Real Madrid in penalties after a double hit by an Atletico Madrid player calls back a penalty, and after saving a Real Madrid penalty, an Atletico Madrid player proceeds to hit the bar, losing again. Atletico still, and I cannot remember his name, the manager, Diego Simeone, cannot beat Real Madrid. This is just getting so devastating for them.
Absolute shithousery from Antonio Rudiger, who scored the pen and did his stupid run in which the Real Madrid all did the stupid run with him. It's so hilarious. And then they also stopped in front of the Real Madrid ultras and celebrated in front of them as well. You're not beating Real Madrid in the Champions League. Good luck. All right, keep it rolling.
Yes, and so obviously we will look at the matchups next because we have international break, so we'll wait until then. And hey, I will say there is no actual update on Americans abroad this week. So Ken, you can give your thing, just because we had so many players do so many things, it was going to take way more than the national anthem. But two, we have much more important things to discuss and talk about.
Let's go.
So, first, I will say, as we said, it is international break. And what did I say I will do every international break? I will update you on the leaders in categories in Americans abroad. And so we will do that so far. Your goal leaders, Ricardo Pepi has 18. Christian Pulisic has 15. Go on.
I apologize. It's time for the longest running best American coverage in terms of soccer in the history of podcasts. It's time for Americans abroad.
Thank you. Josh Sargent has 12. Malik Tillman has 11. Haji Wright has 10. An assist, Anthony Robinson is, I want to say, either the most or the second most assist by a defender in the Premier League so far with 10. Alejandro Zendejas, along with 9 goals, he barely missed the goals list, has 10 assists with 19 contributions. Amazing. Christian Pulisic having his best goal contribution season ever with 7 assists, so it's 22 goal contributions. Josh Sargent up there with 5 assists himself, and Tim Weah rounding out with 4. If we're looking at minutes played,
Josh Sargent getting some love from some German and Premier League teams,
as he should. Minutes played, Brendan Aronson by far and away the most with 3,000 minutes played. This man is playing at least 45 minutes mostly 90, but at least 45 every single game for Leeds. An absolute workhorse in that midfield, as Leeds is first in the championship looking for automatic promotion. So an absolute amazing turnaround from his previous couple seasons there. As you can see, Cameron Carter-Vickers leading that Celtic line with 2,600 minutes. Christian Pulisic, a player who was very touted as potentially being injury-prone at Chelsea, 2,600 minutes played, an absolute key in that Milan team. Anthony Robinson, obviously a key for that defense and the attack at Fulham with 2,600 minutes as well. And Weston McKennie continues to prove no matter what manager you throw at Juventus that doesn't want him and doesn't think his play style is for him, he will become their main cog. Absolutely love seeing Weston McKennie getting that many minutes and consistently, no matter kind of how the team is doing. That just means that he is so essential to that team.
I love it. We'll talk about Brendan Aronson in a minute. Go ahead.
Yes. And finally, I did ratings based on the FOTMob ratings. Now, this is a minimum of 1,000 minutes because we have MLS games, and I don't want one good MLS performance getting put up here. So minimum 1,000 minutes. That's probably about, 11, 12 games. Malik Tim with a 7.6. Anthony Robbins with a 7.44. Alejandro Zendejas with a 7.43. Christian Pulisic with 7.4. And Ricardo Pepi with 7.4. Now, an average when you start the game is at 6. So being able to get to the 7s and 8s consistently on average every single game, absolutely fantastic for these guys, and shows these are the guys that are continuously performing for their club and are looking for probably bigger moves if they are not already at a big club.
I want to mention something. Most of the people we talk about in terms of we hope they bounce back are because of injuries. Josh Sargent, Haji Wright, Daryl DK, Florian Balogun, Serginho Dest, who I wanted to give a shout out, who played some minutes for PSV, but I didn't realize that you weren't going to do Americans Abroad, but that's okay. Shout out to him.
Yes.
He got his first couple minutes. But people like Serginho Dest and all of these injured guys. The resurgence of Alejandro Zendejas, who was struggling at club level, came up and absolutely struggled even worse on his call-ups. To see him just get an absolute resurgence this year, playing well, playing lots of minutes, contributing, goal contributions, great ratings, gonna get more call-ups. I'm happy to see that.
I absolutely agree. And if we're talking about call-ups,
let's do it.
We have the roster here now. I will mention some things after, because there was some changes this afternoon based on just some injuries and some rest, I want to believe. But we'll go in. At goalkeeper, you have Zach Steffen for Colorado, Patrick Schulte at Columbus, and Matt Turner at Crystal Palace. Nobody other than Patrick Schulte really playing well. Matt Turner not really playing at all, and Zach Steffen is leaking goals at Colorado.
Zach Steffen, most saves in Colorado history last week. Yeah, that's all I got.
You're good. For your defense, Cameron Carter-Vickers with Celtic. Marlon Fossey gets a call up at Standard Liège, as I think he's a well-deserved call-up, as he is a great defender and can get forward in attack. Mark McKenzie for Toulouse, who's having an amazing season after coming into an upgraded team after coming from the Belgian league to the French league. That Toulouse team went from 11th most goals given up to 2nd right now, just behind PSG. An absolutely fantastic year for Mark McKenzie. Tim Ream, obviously coming in for that leadership presence. Not playing too bad in his first couple starts at Charlotte. We'll see how he kind of plays here if he gets to start. Chris Richards, behind Liverpool, I think is probably the best defense in the new year at Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Absolutely amazing. Chris Richards I think hasn't played 3 minutes of that time. Absolutely fantastic and amazing form there. Anthony Robinson, that's one of them that I was saying that is getting taken out for replacements. I think it's probably just load management. He's having an insane amount of workload right now. They really didn't say anything. Joe Scally coming in, and unfortunately, Austin Trusty is the other player who is not going to be able to make it for this as he is dealing with a hamstring injury right before this that he couldn't make it past.
Have replacements been named yet?
Yes, and I will name them in 1 second.
That's fine. I just want to say one thing. Cameron Carter-Vickers better start a game.
And I will say, though, this is a thing where it's actually tough this time, because Chris Richards having an amazing season. Tim Ream and Mark McKenzie have an amazing season. Tim Ream is obviously your solid there. Cameron Carter-Vickers not having a breakout season, but I am curious to see kind of who they bring in.
Okay.
And so moving on to your midfields, Tyler Adams finally back, playing amazing for Bournemouth. He is back in the squad. It's been great to see him lead that midfield. Diego Luna, after an insane impressive performance in January, gets the call up.
Very happy.
Jack McGlynn coming in replace of Johnny Cardoso, who had a nagging, I want to say, muscle injury and wasn't able to play for in the weekend. Weston McKennie, as we talked about, a mainstay. Gio Reyna, while not getting many minutes at Dortmund, healthy enough coming into play. And Tanner Tessman, who is actually also having an amazing season for Lyon as well. Absolutely fantastic for them.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see him and Tyler Adams together.
Absolutely. And then for your forwards, like we showed down at the bottom, Ricardo Pepi still injured with that knee. Haji Wright just came back. I know he had a hat trick at the weekend, and we talked about it and personally, but I think they're still giving him time to kind of get back from injury. So your only main real forward there, who's probably going to get a lot of the minutes, Josh Sargent is going to be your main number 9 there, followed by Patrick Agaming from Charlotte, who also impressed in the January camp, showing, listen, Pochettino was not lying when he said, if you impress with this team, we're going to give you a chance with the first team. We're seeing it here live, and I love that he's not going back on his word on any of that. Following as well, Yunus Musa and Christian Pulisic obviously coming in. Tim Weah coming in as a forward this time and not as a right back as he's playing at Juventus. And also didn't mention this guy, Brian White, who also impressed in the January camp. 3 January camp invites coming in. I think it's absolutely fantastic to see what these guys can potentially do, maybe against Panama, maybe even a sub appearance against either Canada or Mexico in the final. This is going to be fun. I will say Max Arfston, defender for Columbus, and Brian Gutierrez, both from the January camp, coming in to make replacements for Austin Trusty and Anthony Robinson.
So not new call-ups, guys who just didn't make that list from the January camp. I like that.
Yes.
Number 1. Number 2. Well, I'll start over actually. Sunrise, sunset, Josh Sargent scores a goal. Let's go. It's the Josh Sargent show. That's your number 9, baby.
Yes. Right. And I'm just going to put it out there real quick. Like I said, it is the Josh Sargent show because Haji Wright's still figuring out. Ricardo Pepi's, we're pretty sure his season is over after having a knee surgery, and so that's unfortunate for him. And Balogun's still figuring out that shoulder injury. That return date keeps getting pushed back further and further. But honestly, from the November injury list that I had, this is a much smaller list, and I love to see it. And even though some of these guys that we just said are kind of coming off, they're not major injuries. It's more rest and related. And Pochettino understands that, listen, these are important games, but not important enough to risk injury for these guys.
100%. Very well said.
And I can't the game is on sorry, I am okay. I'm getting in 1,000 thoughts in a second. The game is Thursday at 7 p.m. So as you are finishing up those first rounds of basketball, you maybe you're a little basketball out after that, after watching it from noon to 7.
Split screen.
Or maybe if you have a second TV, you throw that game on, you get it going. I'm excited to see how this full strength squad is doing in a real tournament. So it'll be fun to watch.
No doubt. United States men's national team has a spot on somewhere in my television screen somewhere at all times. So, all right. That'll do it for our Americans abroad. That'll do it for the Straub Sports Show. Bro, great show today. Great bracket challenge walkthrough. Great NFL free agency walkthrough. Give the people your final shout outs.
Yes, thank you for watching, listening, commenting, however you digest this podcast. Don't forget to sign up. Go to Ken's or the Straub Sports Show Facebook page to sign up for the men's and women's bracket challenge. Brackets close 10 a.m. on Thursday, so you have some time, but don't procrastinate like I do when I used to study for my midterms, my finals. Go in there, get the bracket filled out, get a chance to win a free t-shirt. It's free to enter, and you have a chance to get a t-shirt. And you get shout out on the show. There's no negatives for it.
There's shout outs on the show, and the winner will receive an official Cuyahoga Falls Bracket Challenge Championship shirt presented by the Straub Sports Show. All right, that'll do it for us on the Straub Sports Show. I'm going to leave it with our Straub Sports Show commercial, and we will call it a night. Please remember to always love yours.
Make sure you follow the Straub Sports Show all over social media. You can find us on X at Straub Sports, on TikTok at the SBSS, on Instagram at Straub Sports Show, and on Spotify, the Straub Sports Show. And I want to give a big shout out as we've launched our YouTube page. That QR code will take you there, and it'll take you to the Straub Sports Show YouTube page, your one-stop shop for everything Straub Sports Show. Our interviews with Browns legends, our sit-downs with our Rapids football players, the podcast, and throwback to our interviews with Akron City FC. Make sure you like and subscribe today.